Bank for Economic Development in Africa says it is finalizing its 5-year strategy, which will be released later this year to unveil new innovative products for the African continent. The management of the Multilateral Development Bank says the move builds on the successes recorded so far in the BADEA 2030 framework while setting the tone for the 2074 strategy. Now, this covers critical verticals from climate to energy, trade and infrastructure, issuances and debt markets to sustaining recent credit ratings performance. Hello and welcome to this Focus On as we unpack BADEA's roadmap for accelerated growth and mutually beneficial ties between Africa and the Arab world. I'm David Alabi. Catch-up with the president of BADEA, Sidi Utar, opens up the conversation with updates and new commitments, which are largely concessional financing.
We are currently finalizing the 5-year plan, which will cover the period 2025-2029. And BADEA is considering to deploy a substantial amount of resources over the next 5 years to support 44 African countries. Namely all the African countries who are not members of the Arab League, but also to support many financial institutions across the continent, to support the capital base of the institution as part of the program launched by the bank to strengthen the capital base of African DFIs. As you may know, during last November here in Riyadh, the Arab Bank for Economic Development with the Arab Coordination Group pledged collectively 50 billion US dollars for Africa by 2030. And our team have already been working on the way to mobilize the resources and to define also the criteria for the beneficiary partners. I'm glad to tell that most of these resources are on concessional basis. As you know, the Arab Coordination Group is a group of financial institutions, including 10 financial institutions, working together. And over the past 50 years, BADEA has been able to bring financing from this group to Africa, and on average, for each dollar from BADEA's own resources, the bank has been able to catalyze $4 US from sister institution within the Arab Coordination Group.
And now let's also bring into focus how this ties into the next move we've seen from BADEA with the launch of the Arab Africa Financial Institutional Consortium. This, in some quarters, has been touted as a game changer. But walk us through the scope here, the composition of this consortium, and then the mandate.
So this consortium is meant to strengthen ties between African multilateral financial institution and Arab financial institution. And if we look at the group, the consortium as a whole, we are talking about multi-100 billion US dollar balance sheet, consolidated balance sheet. So this is a very strong financial power. And together, we do believe that the financial institution from both sides will be able to develop synergies and to catalyze resources from the private sector, from sovereign fund, from pension fund, and from other institutional investors. As you know, to bridge the gap, financing the SDGs in Africa, but also the infrastructure gap in Africa, there is a need for trillions. And we do believe that this consortium will play a pivotal role in mobilizing significant amount of resources for the continent, both to support the implementation of and achievement of SDGs, but also to bridge the gap in infrastructure particularly bringing in sovereign funds, institutional investors as a whole, but also the private sector in the GCC region.
Yes, and now narrowing down the conversation to some of the successes we've seen so far now, the African continent is making some momentous strides when we are looking at the African Continental Free Trade Area, leveraging the power of partnerships. And part of the celebrations and high points from BADEA's 50th anniversary celebration is also the launch of the Africa Export Competitiveness Report, which is in partnership with the African Capacity Building. Let's talk about other deals on the table, conversations, talks going on with other institutions and DFIs and multilateral development partners. When we look at ALDA, NEPAD, the Saudi Fund for Development, and Afrexim Bank, walk us through the layered talks that are ongoing right now and the near-term outcome you expect.
Well, as you know, BADEA has been working very closely with ACBF, the African Capacity Building Foundation, and we are really proud of the report which has been just launched on the competitiveness of export in Africa. And this is very much in line with our partnership with Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement Secretariat. And BADEA has established a trade facility for Africa, which is meant to support cross-border trade within Africa. And to strengthen the flows of African businesses and trade across the continent. BADEA is also an active member of the Arab Africa Trade Bridge, AATB, which is a group of financial institutions working on increasing trade flows between the Arab region and Africa.
We always want to be relevant. We also need to be innovative. The rating that we achieved, the reason behind it, we wanted not only to get the rating, but we wanted to have an efficient organization with the best quality. Best quality to provide the best funds and affordable funds to African continent. I mentioned in my speech the issue of euro, because we wanted also to support countries using euro in their financials. The coming period, as I said, we will be diversifying our operations. So historically, we focused more on infrastructure, and that was historically what we focused on. What we started recently, private sector, trade finance, small and medium enterprises, and we're very proud that we supported many small businesses across Africa as well, and that's very important. As we are evolving, you will see more energy need, renewable energy, and also climate change impact on Africa, in addition to food security, which is very, very important for the region. So what we do, every 5 years, we review our strategy, because we want it to be up to date to the needs of African countries as well. So this year we will be updating our 5-year strategy, and we will announce it towards the end of this year with new innovative also products for the African continent.
And talking about exploring the offerings you have on the table right now, let's talk about the debt markets as well now. We have the issuance in the first quarter of this year, which was the inaugural move. But in terms of being a regular issuer in the debt capital market, let's talk about that. Plans here, what's in the works, and how are you scaling the sizes that we've seen so far?
So the issuance, the main reason behind the issuance was mainly to provide the funds with the currency that the African continent is needing. BADEA has a very strong liquidity base, which can help us provide the needed capital to the African continent. The euro issuance early this year, it was 500 million euro, and we were oversubscribed, in fact, to 3 times. We reached 1.5 billion euro, which shows the trust and strength in BADEA that we receive from all investors will definitely will be a regular issuance as needed, and also as the capital is needed for Africa. But still, I mean, we're very comfortable with the liquidity level that we have, and we're looking forward for more issuance in the future.
I think in terms of women empowerment, BADEA focuses a central role in women empowerment. We look at the full stream of women empowerment from the entry point of education, ensuring that there is access to basic health that is gender equitable. We also focus on the opportunities that is given to women business owners in terms of access to finance, and we see digital financial inclusion as a catalytic transformative role in the game of empowering women economically.
As we are rounding up the activities here now, what's your biggest message to African sovereigns, businesses, thought leaders, investors at this point in time now? We're talking about having pipelines of bankable projects here. What's your message to every single stakeholder as we leave here?
I think continue to believe in Africa. Africa is the hope, is the future, but it's also the current. And I think if we want to transform Africa, we should start today, but we should aspire big to make sure that we are able to achieve what we want for the continent.
With 6 years down the line to fully achieve the BADEA 2030 strategy, the Niche International Development Finance Organization says it is ready to take on the challenges of the next decade as it positions itself to be a leading Arab-Africa institution, leveraging innovative solutions to achieve shared prosperity. This brings us to the end of this focus on BADEA's next plans following this year's Golden Jubilee celebration. Many thanks for watching. I'm David Alabi.